Hey, what's that down in the bottom corner? I don't know. Pay no attention to it. Anyway, I'd like to welcome you all to another wonderful episode of Thinking Caps. This afternoon, I'd like to tell you a story. Someday, you might tell it to your kids, or maybe share it with your friends. Now, I'm no leader of men, but I think you're old enough to hear this story. Now, in the book of Genesis, we learn about the betrayal of trust of a lifetime. Abraham is sitting at home with his only son Isaac. Isaac may not have been eating much lately, and Abraham might have had to tell him, "You need to put something in your mouth, or else you'll waste away." Just as he is finishing telling him that, and Isaac is about to feed the machine in obedience, Jehovah decides it's time to stir the pot a little bit.
Abraham, I want you and your son to go far away, and you're going to offer up your son as a sacrifice to me on a mountain.
Why a mountain? Well, who knows? Maybe it was just to get high. Now imagine the conversation that would have ensued after that particular order has come down from
God Almighty.
Dad, you're not really going to do this, are you?
"Sorry, son, but it's just too bad for you. Now let's go."
Really not digging this. But I'm good at being obedient. You know, maybe if I just listen and obey, then I'll be blessed. Maybe this could be a good title for a brainwashing song someday. Alright, Isaac, for now, just breathe. And hopefully Dad will stop hearing voices in his head.
So they get up the mountain and build an altar to perform this wonderful human sacrifice on. Abraham tells Isaac, "All right, now, hold out your hand so I can tie you down to the altar." And at this point, Isaac is thinking,
Where do I hide? No one is saving me today.
and Abraham is thinking, "I'm going to miss you, son. All right, come on, Abraham. What are you waiting for?" So Abraham has him tied down, and he's just about to kill his only son when Jehovah calls out at the last minute and says,
Don't do it! It was all just a test to see how loyal you would be to me. But you know, this is how you remind me of something I'm going to do with my son many centuries from now. But don't worry, Abraham. For now, you're never going to be alone. And as for this altar that you built, well, burn it to the ground.
It must be nice to sit up there in heaven and just mess around with people's lives, don't you think? Such privilege. Meanwhile, after all of this, Abraham is thinking, "Oh God, this means war. Every time we're together, you're always just messing with my life." I remember living in Ur with running water and everything. Where have the good times gone? Now I'm stuck living in tents. And Isaac is thinking to himself at this point,
I'll follow you home, old man, but you are never again taking me out on safari.
how psychotic is this story really? I mean, just look at this photograph for a second. You know, every time it really makes me laugh. There's Isaac, tied up to the altar, Abraham with his hands over his eyes and everything, and he's just laying there. Like, if today was your last day on earth, because your father was going to offer you up as a human sacrifice, I think you'd just fight back just a little bit more to stay alive, don't you think? But getting past all of the, wow, that number's gone up really high. Getting past all of this human sacrifice business, just think if you were Abraham for a moment. This is your only son, and the God that you are supposed to be friends with tells you,
I want you to go and offer him alive.
like, the words literally fail me. I can't even begin to think of what was going through his mind. You know, later on in the Bible, Paul wrote about this account and he figured, well, you know, Abraham had faith. he had faith. Well, faith in what? In a God that is testing him and messing with his head? Imagine the psychological trauma afterwards for both Abraham and for Isaac.
Dad, do you remember that day that you were going to offer me up as a human sacrifice on the mountain?
I don't want to talk about that. And for God's sake, don't tell your mother. It's a disgusting account, really. And in the end, when I think about the whole ransom sacrifice, there is a problem that I have with it. According to biblical teachings and so on and so forth, Jesus was necessary as a human sacrifice for all of our sins. And this was to satisfy God's justice or something like that. Well, again, God, these are your rules. So you're the one making things up to say you have to give up your own son as a sacrifice. What's wrong with you? If we're all supposed to be created in God's image, and this idea is a horrifying one for people that keep their thinking caps on, then what does that say about God? What does that say about the people that wrote the Bible and had this whole idea that, yes, if you pin a man to a torture stake and let him die up there, we're all forgiven? Not to tread all over people's Christian beliefs, but it just really doesn't sit right with me at all. It just feels wrong. Anyway, that really is something to make you go, And I want you all to remember something. When we stand together and keep our thinking caps on, well, we do a lot better. See you next time.